soft toy or special token thing you want for your baby. But Jannine Barron's here with us. So what are some of the key things, the essentials parents need when going to have a baby?
Yeah, great. Well, look, I love to start with the mother because, just like on an aeroplane, you need to put your own gas mask on first. I always say the mother has to have her equipment really well sorted because if you feel flustered at all, it's really difficult to look after a baby. So really, really basic things. And you'll see that I like to focus on the essentials. I usually recommend not wandering into a baby shop if you don't have a list because you'll end up coming out with things, spending the only budget you have on things that are cute but maybe not essential. So start with yourself and do your research. Number one is breast pads. Breast pads you will leak with, even if you, unbeknownst to you, may have to end up bottle feeding. Your breast will leak. So it will cost you anywhere between $6 and $10 a week buying a disposable product, which is quite normalised. The product is bleached. The product may have gels in there that we don't know what are doing to you and your skin. The product may have nylon or polyester and somehow advertise themselves as being more protective because of it. It makes it sound good, but at the end of the day, quite frankly, a bit of cloth is going to stop your leakage. So in the old days, our grandparents would literally cut up rags and put them inside their bras. These days, you can buy beautiful organic cotton breast pads. And the reason I focus on the word organic is, remember, the stuff test, where was it made? So it needs to be have not had any harm at all in the process from a farmer that grew the fibre to the manufacturing process. So if you can get organic cotton fair trade breast pads, it's fantastic. You need a maternity bra to put that breast pad in, and if you don't like bras, then some kind of loose top. You want a shirt that either unbuttons easily or can just easily get your baby to quickly, and you want maternity pads, and there's some beautiful organic cotton maternity pads out there, and it's one product that if you are going to use disposable, at least choose the organic version. And you need a big pair of undies to put them in, and really beyond that, that's the kit of the mother, I like to say. So you can save $250 straight up by not buying disposable breast pads. I love telling people that. So there's your first financial saving, and you're pollution-free at the same time.
That's fantastic. And moving on to the baby safe.
Yeah, great. So let's go to baby wipes. This is a really kind of hilarious product, really. I mean, it's currently been in the news the last 12 months because it's clogging up our toilets. I mean, I just was so shocked to hear that people were throwing... I think I'm so naive sometimes, that people throw baby wipes down the toilet. My gosh. But I guess it had yucky poo on it, so, it seemed logical to people. So baby wipes, you can save $900 per child. So if you've got more than one child, you can do the maths, per child if you don't buy disposable baby wipes. Okay, so I've done the maths, but you can go and do your own maths. Even if you did them part-time or a third of the time, you can work out how much you're going to save. Obviously, the other thing is if you're throwing a baby wipe away, it's going to be, you've got that going into landfill. The paper that created the baby wipe, how was that paper made? Was it bleached? And it has a bunch of ingredients that we don't understand. And most people are not going to go home and look up the ewg.org, which is a fantastic resource for ingredients and chemicals. So we're sort of saying to our babies, welcome to the world. Here is a bleached, wet, multi-ingredient product that I'm going to wipe the most sensitive part of your body with. So it's healthier for baby. You're not throwing something away that's going to landfill, and you're saving yourself a fortune. So we haven't even talked about cloth nappies yet. So those who are freaked out about that conversation coming, there's just over $1,000 saved if you just do cloth breast pads and baby wipes. There you go.
And what's next for babies then?
The nappy has to come. I always like to say that, when a baby is born, there's a couple of things that are definitely going to happen. That baby's going to want to feed. It'll make its way to the mother's breast and feed. And once it does that, it will have its first meconium poo. And then we'll keep pooing multiple times a day every time it feeds. And the baby needs to be wrapped in some kind of warmth and it will sleep. Beyond that, nothing is actually needed. Everything else is a bonus after that, is what I like to say. So if you just focus on the feeding, so the breast pad, the nappy, the baby pooing, and something beautiful to wrap them in, organic cotton, bamboo, hemp, lovely wraps, you're covering yourself on the basics. So nappies is an enormous topic potentially, and I do encourage people to do their research on the internet. But quite simply, here it comes, you will save $5,000 per child if you use cloth nappies. I mean, that is radical. I mean, I'm up to $6,000 with how much money you're going to save just by being pollution-free. So I always like to mention the extra benefits. Often in the world of organics, it's you're asking people to pay extra for something. And in the world of baby, by buying organic cotton, eco-friendly fibres, you're actually spending less because you're not buying the alternative, which is a throwaway product. There's a huge support online and mothers groups around the country for cloth nappies now. And it's really, if you're not having success, you probably don't have the right product, the right support. In the old days, with my mother's generation, who are in their 70s, if they had a nappy blowout or a leakage, they had someone there next to them to say, oh, just try this. Whereas now, if you do that in a cloth nappy, people go, oh, see, they're terrible. But when you have a nappy blowout and a disposable, no one blinks. It's like we're so disconnected, we're not seeing the obvious, what's in front of us. So cloth nappies is fun. It's really empowering to use them. You'll save your family a fortune. And, that sort of, $6,000, that's a cleaner every week. That's a massage every week. That's not going back to work for a certain amount of weeks. There are huge practical benefits for a family by not spending that money. It's a beautiful holiday, $6,000. You can get yourself a nice little family holiday for that. So, yeah.
So how could, what's the initial outlay for parents? Because, it's like $30 a cloth diaper or nappy. Yeah. So what could parents expect of that initial outlay then?
It's a bit like bulk food shopping, okay? So the first time you go bulk food shopping for rice, you're thinking, well, I'm normally paying $3 for a packet of rice in the supermarket. Why am I spending, $15 to $20 on organic biodynamic rice? It feels expensive, yeah? So it's the same with buying cloth for baby. You are going to be outlaying around $1,000 to $1,200 by pre-preparing with cloth products. But you've got to get away from that illusion of that $20, $30 you're spending in a supermarket on a throwaway item, supporting corporate companies that do not care about our planet. It seems cheaper to spend $30 that week. It's not, because you've got to do the long-term forecast. $30, $40 over and over again every week adds up to $6,000. So if you're looking at an average of 3 to 4 years in nappying, which is what parents are doing these days.
We're talking about pollution-free parenting, environmental kind of parenting for a sustainable environment, and what crosses over that is the minimalist approach, which is catching on in popularity in our Western culture at least, and that really is like starting at the beginning is a great way to instill that philosophy. Or it's never too late to start, even if your kids are getting a bit older. And I loved one of the things that Jannine mentioned is about in that stuff test was about, does this give me joy, yes or no? And it's just a great reference point, internal reference point on whether you're going to keep something or get rid of something or buy something or don't buy something. There is some bonus to this as well by going the minimalist approach is having the less stuff to pick up and clean up. You get to instead spend that quality time with your children, don't you? And the other clutter stuff, there is actually science to the clutter and stress and how that in your home space, in your workspace, everywhere, actually does have an impact on those stress levels, on being able to think clearly, on creativity, on your ability to focus and process information. And that also applies to your children. If you have a lot of stuff around them, that also applies to them, their ability to process information. So think about ways to minimize that overstimulation of your baby and young children. In a study by UCLA University, and it was a small number, so 32 families, it was found that stress hormones of mothers increase during having to clean up and deal with all their household and kids' stuff. In another study in the Journal of Family Relations, looking at impact of home clutter on parenting, suggests that all that excess clutter increases a child's sensory overload, impacting on their behaviour. And then that increases the stress for the parents and resulting in less optimal parenting. So parents are going to get more angry and cranky at their kids. So we're going to go back into Jannine's been going through the list.
Yeah, so number 5 is equipment hire, or I would say even borrowing from friends. A lot of people make the mistake, and I know they'll be listening right now, you went out and you bought a cot and a pram and you didn't end up liking it. and you've blown your budget on those two huge things, and then you had no money left for the essentials. So I usually say to people, look, just try something before you buy it. Borrow from a friend, hire it from a baby equipment hire. Check that you actually love it before you actually purchase it for yourself. Number 6 is the baby shower. I love to talk about this. Not everyone will have a baby shower. They may be having a blessing way, but either way, it ties into number 7, which is gifts. People want to bring gifts. So take charge, and if you're uncomfortable taking charge yourself, find that chatty friend or chatty relative who will take charge for you and get them to communicate to all your friends and family and say, look, she really wants to go this way. She wants to go cloth nappies. We're all going to buy from this company. She wants organic. Please only bring an organic thing. Please only bring essentials. Please don't bring plastic toys. Just put the word out, and you'll be amazed. Sure, they'll roll their eyes behind in some of them, but basically they'll be really happy to oblige. And a lot of people like the focus of knowing what you want. So I know, just very briefly, bedding, painting a nursery, furnishings, all these things. Off-gassing is a real thing. Please do your research on off-gassing on the internet. Look for natural fibres and companies who have really thought all of this through for you. Because we want to put a fresh, brand new human being into a room that has off-gassing and chemical exposure. Clothes is a really obvious one. Again, just tell people you want organic clothing. And the last one is the nappy change table. And I say that because we don't have to always buy specialised equipment for babies. There's that mistake that we think we need special things, and often they can just be incorporated in with the whole family. So there you go. I think we made it through the list, but you can imagine the detail there. I encourage people to do their research. But the most important thing, honestly, before you even look into any of this, is to just decide that this is the way you want to go.
For our listeners, if you want to connect with Jannine or connect with more on this topic, you can reach her at her social media Facebook page, facebook.com/natureschild.com. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond. What are your top tips for minimising your family's ecological footprint? Let us know at hello@pbbmedia.org.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond. Tune in next week for more information and inspiration, bringing us full circle. You can find our show on iTunes, Spreaker, the usual social media under Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond, and our website at pbbmedia.org.